Hey everyone, this is Dr. Shou, the Japanese behaviorist. We all know Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of the best romantic movies of all time. But not that many people realize that there's a hidden message in this movie. That is, the movie denies free will. As a behaviorist, this film is quite an achievement because it proves love is deterministic, and at the same time, it presents love as the best thing ever in our life. No philosophers, no behavioral scientists, no neuroscientists could achieve such a thing. How did this movie do it so successfully without creating controversy? Here is the behavior analysis of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. As always, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the movie yet, come back after you do. I guarantee you won't regret it. And note that there are some spoilers in this video. Now let's dive in. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a 2004 American romantic movie directed by Michel Gondry and written by Charlie Kaufman and Pierre Bismuth. It tells the romance of Joel and Clementine. Joel is an introvert who lives in upstate New York. He falls in love with Clementine for her free spirit quality. As they spend time with each other more and more, however, they start having problems to the point that their relationship faces a dead end. As impulsive as she is, Clementine then undergoes the memory erasing procedure to erase all her memories of Joel. Joel finds out about it and decides that he also wants to erase his memory of Clementine. But as Joel undergoes the procedure, he realizes that his memory of Clementine is precious and tries to escape the procedure, which eventually fails. After Joel comes out of the procedure with his memory of Clementine completely gone, he once again meets Clementine as a stranger, and once again he falls in love with her. Now, the movie uses the memory erasing process as an excellent metaphor for the romantic breaking up process. As Joel undergoes the procedure, he experiences anger, denial, guilt, remorse, and recovery. He finally reflects on how his relationship was with Clementine and thinks about what he has done and what he should have done. This use of the memory erasing device to show the stages of the breaking up process is so creative and brilliant. This is one of the reasons why this movie is considered one of the all-time best romantic movies. But there is another layer to this story. When the movie presents the romance between Joel and Clementine, the movie also shows that their actions are all deterministic. It does not leave any room for free will. In other words, whether or not Joel regrets what he has done or what he should have done, the film says he didn't have a choice. Let me briefly explain these concepts. Free will is a concept that we have freedom of choice, behavior, and thought independent of environmental influences. We make our decisions at will. Determinism is the opposite of free will. Determinism says that human behavior, thought, and choice are determined by environmental influences, past and present. Scientists take deterministic view. We explain the behavior of things around us in terms of environmental influences, planetary motions, computers, tables, chairs, trees, and animals. But how about humans? Actually, we have difficulty accepting determinism when it comes to our own behavior and thoughts. We don't like to think of the possibility that our thoughts and behavior are determined, just like planets and cars. We don't want to think of ourselves as a robot or a puppet. Usually, scientists and philosophers don't want to talk about determinism because people react so negatively. But Eternal Sunshine does it very smoothly. The movie presents a case that human behavior is deterministic and there is no free will, all while making people feel like it is an amazing thing. Let's take a look at how Eternal Sunshine does this superb job. First of all, the movie chooses love as a subject, which is a brilliant idea. Love is one of the most human things we do. Love is the main topic in art and entertainment. It is the best thing that ever happens in our life, or at least one of the strongest events in our lives. And people think of love positively, and nobody thinks that you're a robot when you're in love. But if you actually come to think of it, we use pretty deterministic phrases when we talk about love. It is destiny, it is meant to be, love is blind, and love is chemistry. People want love to be something beyond their own free will. People want the universe to decide their partners. People think that's romantic. Eternal Sunshine demonstrates this deterministic aspect of love in detail. For example, the first time Joel and Clementine meet, there is an instant attraction. This initial feeling is like a chemical reaction. It's something that they cannot resist. Then Clementine introduces herself and asks Joel not to make a joke. She repeats the same thing after the memory erasing procedure too. She again introduces herself the same way and asks not to make a joke. The movie shows that it is not just the feelings, but also speech and other behavior are deterministic, just like a chemical reaction. How about Joel? He also reacts the same way before and after the memory erasing procedure. Joel keeps saying Clementine is nice. He gets scared and leaves Clementine the first night. What this movie does well is, even when he reacts a little differently, it tells us that it is not because of his free will. For example, when Clementine asks Joel not to make a joke out of her name when they first meet, Joel sings a song. Then, the second time they meet, Joel does not know the song. This is not because he has free will, but because his memory about this song is erased the day before. The movie tells us that everything he does has physical reasons. You and I can also experience this deterministic nature of a romantic relationship, even without the use of the memory erasing device. For example, Joel and Clementine argue and fight over and over. Even when they know that certain topics in conversation lead to a fight, they cannot stop doing it. Joel says that Clementine cannot be a good mother. He says that Clementine is a whore. Joel knows he should avoid saying these things, but he cannot stop himself from saying them. Clementine, too, reacts to Joel's remarks as if she doesn't have free will not to do so. The interaction is hard to stop, just like you cannot stop a chemical reaction halfway. I think we all have experiences like this. You are perfectly aware of things that will trigger reactions from your loved ones or family members or friends, and yet some situations make you do exactly that, and you just cannot stop yourself from doing it. And it's not just Joel and Clementine. Dr. Howard and Mary repeat the same romance even when only Mary erased her memory, and Dr. Howard is fully aware of their past failed relationship. The deterministic drive is that strong. But this raises a question: what determines human behavior? The answer is everything except free will. When Joel and Clementine meet for the first time, they come with history, which is stored in their bodies and their environments. Joel finds Clementine attractive because of the past history in his life. He developed a certain preference for that particular type of woman over time. He developed his attitude, speech style, choice of clothing, hairstyle, and friends over a lifetime. His childhood experience, his past romantic relationships, his cultural backgrounds, where he lived and what he ate. Everything that Joel has done up to the point where he meets Clementine leads him to fall in love with Clementine. All of them are necessary to set himself up for that romance. Behaviorist speaking, the whole of his life is one big memory. That is why erasing pieces of Clementine's memory is simply not enough for Joel to act differently when he sees her again. Joel's past history creates a strong momentum in the present and determines his behavior. It is not easy to redirect such momentum with a few new experiences in the present. This is called behavioral momentum. And the movie shows this point clearly when Patrick tries to seduce Clementine by using Joel's memories. Patrick is able to attract Clementine when he behaves and says the same things Joel did in the beginning. Clementine responds to this seduction just like a chemical reaction. But this reaction does not last for a long time. Although Patrick continues to do the same thing as Joel has done, there's one big factor that does not fit. That is, Patrick cannot be Joel. Patrick as an organism has a very different history compared to Joel and does not allow him to act exactly the same as Joel. And this chemical reaction with Clementine runs out. So the movie clearly makes the case that human behavior, thoughts and feelings are determined. There is no free will in human behavior. But what does Eternal Sunshine want to do with this fact? Does the movie say we are doomed? Quite the opposite. The movie actually says determinism is a good thing. Let me explain. The movie states that determinism is nothing to be afraid of in three different ways. First, the title says it all: Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Mary quotes the poem by Alexander Pope, Eloisa to Abelard. In the poem, Eloisa writes a letter to Abelard about their failed romance and consequential choices to become a nun and a monk. After many years of separation, Eloisa writes a letter to Abelard that she's still troubled by her love for him, and says it would have been better if she was innocent and ignorant of love. Eloisa expresses her wish such that the spotless mind of an innocent is shining happily and eternally like the sun, and she cannot have that after experiencing love. What's important is that Eloisa is not longing to erase her memory and forget about Aberrod. She just can't find anything better than her love of Aberrod, not even God. She is waiting in depression the end of her life so that she can meet Aberrod in heaven again. So Eloisa is actually saying that it is good to surrender yourself in love, and she wishes to repeat it again even when she regains the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Second, Joel provides the answer twice. The first time is when he finds out that he can no longer escape from the memory loss. Clementine, in his memory, asks Joel what to do when she realizes that Joel cannot stop the memory erasing procedure. Joel responds by saying to enjoy it. He decides to enjoy the moment until it is all gone. His decision to enjoy the happy present moment, regardless of the inescapable future, shows his active participation in the deterministic world, instead of being depressed or remorseful about his future and the lack of choices. The second time is when Joel asks Clementine to give the second try after they find out about the fact that they erased their memories of each other because of their failed relationship. Clementine says to Joel that their relationship will not work even when they try again. Joel says it is okay to repeat the same process even though it is doomed. Here too, Joel accepts determinism, an inescapable reality, and still wants to ride the wave of life. He might not have free will to decide the course of his life, but he still wants to enjoy it all the way. The third is the ending. The movie ends with a scene where Joel and Clementine are on the beach in Montauk. It is winter and the beach is covered with snow. They play and run. What's interesting about this scene is that the scene repeats 3 times. They run the same beach 3 times. What does this mean? This means that they repeated the same memory erasing procedure at least 3 times. Every time their relationship fails, they erase their memories and they fall in love with each other again. That is why they run on the beach in winter 3 times. They repeated this process again and again. They allow themselves to experience their romance infinite times. This readiness to repeat the same doomed romance infinite times is called Nietzsche's eternal recurrence. Nietzsche claims that in order to accept determinism, you need to love fate. It is not enough just to make peace with fate or accept it passively or reluctantly. You actively love determinism and actively participate in it. Joel and Clementine demonstrates the love of fate and participate in it every time. Just like we actively enjoy roller coaster every time, even though we know its course is determined and we come back to the starting point every time. To sum up, the movie is actually making an astonishing claim that there is no free will. Our thoughts and behavior are determined, and you should love determinism and actively participate in it. This fresh new perspective makes this movie one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. Now let's end with another of Mary's quotation in the movie. This one is by Nietzsche. Blessed are the forgetful, for they get the better even of their blunders. Nietzsche says that when you forget about past values and judgments, you can look at future possibilities without bias. The movie is asking, are you ready to accept determinism and forget about good old free will? Will you repeat the same romance with your love over and over again like Joel and Clementine? What is your response to the hidden message of this movie? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video. ありがとうございました。